Joining us now, Michael Moore, the Academy Award-winning documentary filmmaker whose family has lived in Michigan longer than Michigan has been a state. Mr. Moore, thank you for joining us again. I'm really glad you could come back.
That's correct. Thank you for having me again, Rachel. And by the way, since I spoke to you last week, the trees are still at that same height.
You know, eventually they are going to outgrow their perfect height, and then Michigan's going to have to address that crisis, since that's obviously the source of Michigan's
We'll deal with it
strength.
when we have to, but yes.
We are on the eve of the Michigan Republican primary. How is it that the two leading candidates in the race are both on the record as being against saving the state's most important industry, and they're unrepentant about it?
I have come to the conclusion that they are in a race with each other to see who can get the least number of votes from the Michigan citizenry. I think it's just the most bizarre. It's been just the most bizarre last couple of weeks here in the state of Michigan. I think that you know, Romney, this real guy image he's trying to project, you kind of feel sorry for the guy because he just keeps putting his foot in his mouth. You know, I expected him to say by the end of the day today that he's all for, you know, eating at McDonald's. He owns 26 franchises throughout the Midwest. You know, it's just and Santorum with his whole the religious crusade that he's on. This is so out of touch with where Michiganders are at. Now, that's not to say that there aren't Christian conservatives in Michigan. There's a strong core group, but they're not large, but they're rabid, and that's true for Republicans too. Most people, majority of Michigan residents, do not identify themselves as Republicans, and so when you take a poll amongst Republicans saying, you know, do you support the bailout, and 50% or more of them say no, we don't support the bailout in their own state, they're kind of like you know, like a Red Sox fan that lives in New York City. They're actually more rabid than the Red Sox fans that are in Boston, because they have to be, because they're just surrounded by all these Yankee fans. That's kind of what like the Republicans are like in the state of Michigan. So I think that both Romney and Santorum are going to, I think tomorrow we'll continue to see probably what we've seen in all the other states, less Republicans voting than they did 4 years ago. But honestly, people really have to understand this, and please understand this as coming from us Michiganders. If Romney does not win tomorrow, or if he wins by just a small margin, in other words, he's lost, you cannot overstate the importance of this in the state of Michigan. The Romney name, the Romney legacy in Michigan, it'd be like voting against a Kennedy in Massachusetts. They are well loved in the state. His brother Scott is a well-known attorney in suburban Detroit. For Romney to lose Michigan, I know they think this. They must think that this is the death knell for their campaign. When you look at how well Mitt Romney did in 2008 in Michigan, won the state handily there, and you look at 4 years later how he is struggling against Rick Santorum there, do you think that's driven by national political wins, that's driven by just generally what's going on in the campaign, or is there anything Michigan specific about how Mitt Romney has really fallen in the esteem of Republicans there? Well, I think it's both, but definitely for Romney to fall that far in the state of Michigan is huge. But he's brought this on himself, and it's not just him. Let's be fair. Santorum also opposed the auto bailout, and so they both were against it. But Romney he keeps doubling down on it. Santorum doesn't like to bring it up too much, but Romney just brings it up any chance he can, and he's saying this to all these people who have lost their jobs. You know, we've had unemployment in some of our counties upwards to 20% in the last 4 years or so. So to say this to these people, it's the same. I mean, I feel the same way about Santorum telling people that if they want to send their kids to college, you know, colleges are for snobs, it's for elitists, and it's like the whole blue-collar work ethic in America, and especially in Michigan, is that like my dad and our parents, they didn't go to college, but what they wanted most of all was to send their kids to college. That's why they were working so hard in the factory, so that their kids could have a better life, so they could go to college. No blue-collar person sees college as some form of snobbery. It's actually the definition of the American dream. So when Santorum calls it snobbery and who needs college, or everyone doesn't need to go to college, he's really attacking the American dream, and just now in that fight with Romney, trying to see if he can get even fewer voters than Romney will get tomorrow.
Michael Moore, award-winning filmmaker, activist, and a Michigan native son. I share your suspicions about what the turnout is going to be like in Michigan. But once we find out, can I ask you to come back and talk with me about, do a sort of a post-mortem on it once we know?
Yeah. Yes, I will. And I got to tell you, a lot of my Democratic friends are going to vote for Santorum tomorrow in something they are calling Operation Hilarity. So we do have a good sense of humor in the state of Michigan.
Thank you, Michael. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.